off a daily fantasy. His number too high, then I'm probably fading him. He been on the road, he gon' eat up my salary. I hit up by, he gon' lie before lock. Play back to back, then I probably won't pick on the Dfs Bachelor, good as it gets. Build a few liners and hit me a leg. He had a good game, but it might be a trick. Log in the Slack so I know who to pick. Sharing our liners, we all gon' get rich. New to this game, you should come to the pad. You might want some cash and get a good laugh. Dfs Sports, we gon' run up a bag. He heard every game and it's making me mad. You buying your lineups, I think you a cheater. Dfs Bachelor, he the new leader, yeah.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Bachelor Pad. I, of course, am your host of Dfs Bachelor, and football season is back. I've honestly had to redo this opening part like 3 times because I keep pinching myself going, holy shit, football's back. It's back, and we're going to go over our Fanduel and Draftkings Thursday Night Football single game showdown slate. First things first, cheers to you all. Welcome back. Thank you all so much for all your support. I truly do appreciate all the kind words. I've been getting reached out to a lot. We are kind of surrounded by the fires, but totally safe where I'm at. So thank you to everyone for that. And just thank you again for being a part of the show, for making this show what it is. It's truly humbling, and I really do appreciate it. If you are new to the channel, welcome to the team. Please hit that subscribe button down below. Lots of content, NBA, NFL. We're going to have tons of NFL content all year. You can also find me over at Sportsbook Review, where we are handicapping the games. I'll be live tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern. Also Sunday morning, an hour before kickoff. You can join me over at Sportsbook Review as well. I'll have a link to that YouTube channel in the video description below, and you can ask me all the questions you want leading up to the games on Sunday morning. So lots of stuff. So I appreciate all of that. Also, we're going to be doing a special giveaway here, but we do a regular giveaway where if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment in the comment section, you qualify for our weekly $25 PayPal giveaway. But following those same rules, we're actually doing a special giveaway, a $50 PayPal giveaway, and I'll announce that winner on Friday during our last look video. It'll be at Friday and Saturday, our final look at week 1. And this giveaway is brought to you by my guys and gals over at Tax Relief Advocates. Listen, if you've got $5K in tax debt, $10K, $100K, it doesn't matter what it is, they can get rid of it and make it go away, just like Mike Budenholzer's terrible rotations in the playoffs are now out of our lives. The guys over at Tax Relief Advocates do a great job. They helped me big time this year. I was getting charged for some of my ex-wife's debts, and I couldn't figure it out, and they were taking money out of my taxes, charging me more, and they got it fixed. It was a huge relief. So if you have anything going on with the IRS, I highly recommend you give them a call. Their phone number is right here, 1-800-411-9633, and make sure you tell them that I sent you over there, and make sure to tell them thank you for sponsoring this $50 PayPal giveaway that we will announce on Friday. And we're going to be doing a lot of stuff with them. They saved my life this year. I was so tired of paying for my ex-wife's nonsense, and now I have no worries when it comes to the IRS. Check out my guys over at TRA. They're awesome. Bottom line is they're just awesome. They will get you sorted out. So be sure and check them out as well. And as usual, for all of you, I will have my player pools that you can use for the lineup optimizer, projectors, everything else here on Draft Dashboard. It's going to tell you how many percentage of snaps, what they've done against the team, rushes, targets. For basketball, I have cheat sheets and everything set up there. For NFL, we have not just a cheat sheet, season-long draft kit, weekly rankings, ranking the top 10 PPR players at each position, all sorts of stuff here at Draft Dashboard. Plus, you get my player pool. You can get access to that. Click the link, try it for 30 days for $1. We'll make a sample lineup at the end of the video using the tools. Man, I am excited. A big cheers. Let's have a drink, and let's get into the plays for tomorrow. So, let's start at quarterback. Pat Mahomes, 12,600 on DraftKings. He's 16.5 on Fanduel. Now, remember, the two sites are very different. On DraftKings, in the captain spot, you get 1.5 times the points, but you also have to pay 1.5 times the salary. So it gets pretty expensive. We're looking at, if you put Mahomes in the captain spot at 12.6, 18,900 in the captain spot. On FanDuel, that's not the case. You can play, all the players' salary stays the same, and you get 2 times the points, but you don't have to change the salary. So it's 2 very, very different things. Of course, Mahomes is in play. We remember the comeback against Houston. These teams played in the playoffs last year. Both Mahomes and Watson had huge games. Of course, they're in play. I don't want to spend too much time on this because it's a no-brainer. Both quarterbacks are absolutely in play. I think Watson put up a 36. Yeah, 36 in DraftKings, and Mahomes put up a 41 in that playoff game. It is week 1, so there is concern that the scoring might be down a little bit. It's always that way when you start the year. But this should be a lot of fun. I cannot believe football's back. But Mahomes and Watson are both great plays. You can play them both at the captain spot. But if you do, especially on DraftKings, you're going to have to get creative with your lineups because you're taking up a ton of salary. Let's go over to running backs. So at running back, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the Fresh Prince of Hilaire. He is the number 1 running back for Kansas City. He's 8,800 on DraftKings. He's 12K on FanDuel. I love that price for him on FanDuel, honestly. And FanDuel's doing that thing where if you put in your captain spot, they're basically trying to discourage you from playing one of the quarterbacks in your captain spot. They're saying if you have the player in your captain spot with the first rushing or receiving touchdown, then you can be part of the $250,000 bonus. Clyde Edwards-Helaire certainly could get the first touchdown, receiving or rushing. He's going to be heavily involved in the passing game. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a terrific play, of course. Then we've got David Johnson. And I think he's going to be lower owned, no doubt about it. He's 7.6 on DraftKings. Over here on FanDuel, he's 11.5. Look, we know he's a prolific receiver out of the backfield. He's going to be the number 1 guy. They still have Duke Johnson, but David Johnson's kind of a wild card. We got to see what we can get out of him. He's been disappointing the last couple of years after having that huge breakout year back in 2018 or 2017 where he had that huge season. And then it's kind of been a bunch of regression. Then he fell out of favor with Cliff Kingsbury over in Arizona. Obviously, they sent DeAndre Hopkins over for him in a draft pick, which was the dumbest trade I've ever seen. It's like one of those guys in your fantasy football league, and you're like, if you're the commissioner, you're like, shit, now I'm going to have to veto this. Then you veto it, and everyone gets pissed off. That's what the Texans did in this trade. But David Johnson should be heavily involved in the offense. Looks like Brandon Cooks could miss tomorrow. Surprise, surprise. Right? We're already dealing with Brandon Cooks injuries, but David Johnson's certainly in play. And then you got some backup running backs. You got some sleepers here. And I do think there's some value. The number 2 running back for this team is going to be Darrell Williams for Kansas City. He's 1,800 over on DraftKings. On FanDuel, he's 6,000. He could see some goal line work. He's a powerful guy, powerful back. We saw 2 running backs be pretty involved last year for Kansas City. I certainly think Darrell Williams is in play, and the same for Duke Johnson. He's going to be involved on passing downs. David Johnson's not going to be on the field for every play. So I think, there's some value there. I like the Darrell Williams play at 1,800. I think that's really, really cheap. And if you want to get real crazy, listen, it's a single game slate. Everyone and their mother is going to be playing these contests, right? We're all just freaking out excited, right? So if you're playing in one of the tournaments, the Millionaire Tournament, and you're trying to win the million, doing something different, picking a player who's going to be low owned, who could easily get you a 0, or maybe they have one big play, or maybe you get an injury to the rookie running back, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. A guy like Darwin Thompson at 1,200, I think can be a super contrarian play. You don't necessarily need to go there on FanDuel down at the minimum salary. I'm not sure that it warrants that. Or he's actually, Darwin Thompson's 7,000 on FanDuel. So it's a big, hard no. There you go. Title of your imaginary sex tape for most of us. But Darwin Thompson on DraftKings at 1,200 could be a little different. Don't forget, it's a full point per reception on DraftKings, only a half point per reception over on FanDuel. So that's an important distinction to make. Let's go to wide receivers. Now, I don't have wide receiver cornerback matchups for this game, but I am working on having that for Sunday. Of course, as the weeks go on, that will get better. It's really up in the air week 1. As many of you know, I cover top wide receiver cornerback matchups. I usually have that. I will have that posted on Draft Dashboard as well. You can see my top 10 best and worst wide receiver cornerback matchups. So I love doing that. And typically in these Thursday night videos, we will have that. But still waiting for some data. We got to see who's playing, who's not playing. So it's not up for that. But here's what I can tell you. The Houston Texans secondary is dreadful, and the Kansas City Chiefs secondary is very good. Now, the Chiefs are going to be without their top corner, Bashad Breeland. He's suspended for the first 4 games of the season. They shipped off Kendall Fuller. So it's Charvarius Ward and some youngsters. So I think it puts an even higher premium on some of these receivers. So you've got Tyreek Hill, 10-4. Of course he's in play. He only had a 7. 7 in that playoff game. 25 in the regular season game against this team. Tyreek Hill has big time upside. He has been dealing with a little bit of a hamstring type issue in camp. He's a boom or bust guy. We know the big upside. Of course he's in play. And of course, if you want to, for that FanDuel bonus, you could put him in the captain spot. He could easily, open first play of the game. He could go deep for 80 yards. The Houston Texans did nothing to improve that secondary, and it's not very good. So I love the receivers for Tyreek Hill for Kansas City. Will Fuller, same thing. The real question is, Will Fuller should be massively involved in the offense. In that playoff game, he had 8 targets. In that playoff loss, turned that into 14 DraftKings points. He's a 10-5 on FanDuel and 8K on DraftKings. I like him in the captain spot. I think it's a nice sort of salary saver in that captain spot. He could certainly get the first touchdown of the game against the KC secondary that's going to be a little depleted for the first 4 weeks of the season. There's no doubt about it. I think Will Fuller the 5th. I thought it was Will Fuller the 4th, but apparently it's now Will Fuller the 5th. Will Fuller V, if you will. He's absolutely in play. You can lock and load, and you can stack him with Deshaun Watson, of course. I like the play. I like it on DraftKings, the PPR. He's going to be the main focus of that passing game, or he should be. And we'll just have to see how long he's healthy for. The question with Will Fuller is not does he have the talent, it's can he stay healthy, and we'll have to see what happens there. We talked about Brandon Cooks. He may miss this game. He is dealing with he missed practice yesterday. You can find all these injury updates here on Draft Dashboard too. Don't forget, you can click that link. Try it for 30 days for $1. If he misses, guys, they brought in Randall Cobb, Kenny Stills. So those will be your 3 main receivers, Fuller, Stills, and Randall Cobb. And I think you see all 4 of them, even if Cooks plays. I'll probably pass on Brandon Cooks. What is he, 10K on FanDuel? I'll probably pass there and get some of the value with Stills and Randall Cobb. But if he's active, he's in play. Sammy Watkins, boom or bust. And he really started to come on during the postseason. Put up an 11 in that divisional round playoff game. He had what? He was only targeted a couple times, but then you saw in the Super Bowl and the championship game, he was targeted 16 times. And that's what's going to happen with Sammy Watkins. He's 9K on FanDuel. I like that price. 5.8 on DraftKings. If they're shading their coverage over and trying to take away Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce, Sammy Watkins is going to be a decent option. I really like Sammy Watkins. And then we get to some contrarian plays. Now, I do not like the price for a Mecole Hardman. 7.5 FanDuel and 5.2 DraftKings seems a bit steep for me. Now, there's certainly upside in this passing game. Last year, he played on 45% of the offensive snaps, as opposed to a guy who's 3,000 cheaper in Demarcus Robinson, who played on 70% of the snaps. Now, you could see that shift. You could see more Mecole Hardman as he continues to grow into a good player. So it's a contrarian type play. He'll be lower owned. I'll have some tournament exposure. That's about it. Kenny Stills and Randall Cobb. I like them both. I like the price. You got Kenny Stills. He's 7.5 on FanDuel. I think that's a fair price. Still with the team, right? Yeah, it looks like Kenny Stills. I mean, guys like Stills and Randall Cobb are going to benefit the most. Randall Cobb was going to be in the slot anyway, so it looked like the odd man out was going to be Kenny Stills. But now, with the questions about Brandon Cooks, he's missed 2 straight days of practice. Kenny Stills at 4.6 on DraftKings and 7.5 on FanDuel looks like a nice play. Randall Cobb is 8.5 on FanDuel, 1,000 more, and he's 4,200 on DraftKings. He's cheaper. I love Randall Cobb on DraftKings. They're going to go to him in the slot a ton. You remember guys like DeAndre Carter and stuff were good for Houston last year in that slot. Of course, Hopkins lined up there a ton. Randall Cobb's going to have to pick up the load. Carry the load. There you go. If you can fill in the sex tape titles as you wish. I think Randall Cobb's an interesting play. And I think is a really interesting sort of contrarian, cheap MVP option on DraftKings. Like if I'm taking a sleeper on DraftKings and trying to, that way I can fit in not just Mahomes, but Watson and some other high-priced guys. Going to someone like Randall Cobb in the captain spot, if he, sort of like the Taylor Gabriel thing that happened to us last year on Monday Night Football, some of you may remember that, all the money went to us because Taylor Gabriel had 3 touchdowns. Randall Cobb could be one of those interesting plays tomorrow. He and both Kenny Stills. Now let's get to some super cheap guys. How about Demarcus Robinson? $2,200 on DraftKings. $6,000 on Fanduel. Now listen, he's not a huge target guy. He had, 4 targets and 1 fantasy point in that playoff game against Houston. But the bottom line is he plays a ton of snaps. It's a high-volume passing attack. Anything can happen. And if he's the one that's open, Mahomes will get him the ball. So it's risky, but he's cheap. I think you could certainly do much worse at $2,200. I think the Demarcus Robinson is an interesting play tomorrow. Let's go to our tight end, shall we? The pink eye position. And, of course, Travis Kelce's in play. And on FanDuel, where they're doing the touchdown bonus, I think he could easily score the first touchdown of the game. He's 13-5 over on FanDuel. He's 9-2 here on DraftKings. Certainly some captain spot consideration there. I like Travis Kelce. There's not a lot to love at tight ends. And it's weird, right? Because who doesn't love a tight end? Darren Fells is going to be the starting tight end for Houston. He started to come on in those last couple of games in the postseason last year against Buffalo and Kansas City. He had 7 targets in that playoff game, put up an 11. I mean, there's Jordan Akins and, Dion Yelder, whatever. Darren Fells is going to be the tight end. He played 69% of the snaps last year. If you're looking for some salary savings at $4,400 on DraftKings, and what is he over here on FanDuel? $6,500 on FanDuel. And then no one else I'm really not that interested in. If you want one of these 1,600 type players, these cheap type guys, and we're always looking for those 200 or 400 type players, Doesn't seem to be any of those this week. But a guy like Ricky Seals-Jones taking over for Blake Bell as the number 2 tight end in Kansas City, he'll be in some red zone packages, maybe a play action fake. He gets in the end zone. So a guy like that, if you're looking for a deep, deep sleeper, a guy like Ricky Seals-Jones could be interesting. And then, of course, we got the damn kickers. And I wish they got rid of the kickers. And they're their typical standard 9,500 and 9K on FanDuel. They're 3.8 and 3.6 on DraftKings, and they're absolutely in play. Both kickers, they're going to put up points. These offenses can move the ball. If I had to pick right now, I will take the home kicker, Butker, for only 200 more on DraftKings. It makes a whole lot of sense. I'll go with Harrison Butker. But if you want to play Fairbairn, I get it as well. And then defensively, I don't have a ton of interest in the defenses. If I was going to play like the lower owned defense, one of the lowest owned plays on the slate, and you're going to see this when the contest starts. You're going to find a bunch of people put the Chiefs or the Texans defense in the captain spot, and they instantly start out with 10 points, which means they'll have 15, and they'll be in first place, and you'll be frustrated by it, and it totally makes sense, but they'll eventually fade away. They won't win. It's very rare that someone putting a defense in the captain spot wins the whole thing. It's just some douchey thing that people do, and it bugs the living crap out of me, but it happens. But if I had to pick a defense, I think it's the Chiefs that you want, just because they're at home. There's going to be some fans in the stands. It's the first game. I could see that, and the offensive line for the Texans is dreadful. So I could see some sacks out of that front 7 for Kansas City. So I will consider some Chiefs defense as well. So that's our look at each position. The NFL is back. Cheers. Again, you can get access to my entire player pool, not just for the NFL, which I'll have it set, but for the NBA and for Major League Baseball. Hockey is winding down. You can click that link in the video description below. You can try Draft Dashboard for 30 days for $1. When you do, how you find my player pool is you'll click on your Watched Players tab. And if you've used that link, you'll see a blue box at the top that says Watch DFS Bachelor's Picks, as well as a timestamp when it was last updated. And I'll be updating this throughout the day based on, once we find out about Brandon Cooks, etc. You can follow me on Twitter at DFS Bachelor. As soon as I know something, it's up on the Twitter page there. But this updates it in Eastern time. So, let's say at 2 o'clock tomorrow Eastern, they say Brandon Cooks is out. And you're looking like, oh, he's still in DFS Bachelor's player pool. But then you look, oh, he hasn't updated his player pool yet. There's a timestamp that lets you know. Then you can use it in the lineup optimizer. There's the mass lineup generator. You can set your exposures for each player and generate 100 lineups exactly how you want them. The late swap optimizer. So let's say you put in 100 lineups and you've got Brandon Cooks in 20 of them, and then he's announced out. You can upload your lineups from Fanduel and Draftkings, upload them in to Draft Dashboard, and then you can re-optimize and upload them back in. It saves you a ton of time. So let's make a quick lineup here on DraftKings, shall we? And let's go, like, if we're being crazy, right? If I'm saying, hey, let's do this Randall Cobb in the captain spot type deal so I can pay up everywhere else, let's do it and see what kind of lineup we can make. Again, this is a tournament lineup, and we're trying to be different and win some money, right? So right here, and we've sprinkled in 1,800 for Darrell Williams. We've got Randall Cobb. We've got Mahomes. We've got Watson. We've got Will Fuller. We've got Darrell Williams. We've got Travis Kelce. Now, if maybe you're like, hey, I'd like to get some running back action, we could put Clyde Edwards-Helaire. We leave 700 on the table, and that's important to do in these single-game slates. There's so many options to tie. And if you use all of your salary, if you have zero salary left over, I can promise you that someone else has the exact same lineup as you, and probably many, many, many people have the same exact lineup as you. So for me, I think it's important to leave some salary on the table in these tournaments because we're trying to stand alone. If this lineup goes off, if Randall Cobb gets 3 touchdowns and Mahomes and Watson are in a shootout and Will Fuller plays well and Darrell Williams sneaks one in, or you could even go here, there's the Darwin Thompson option. You can also go to Demarcus Robinson if you feel better about that. But you're leaving that 700 on the table, so it really offsets everything. I think this is a very interesting tournament lineup. I like it a lot because you can see the difference. If we put Patrick Mahomes, here, let's take Mahomes out here. Let's put Kelce, and we put Patrick Mahomes in the captain spot. You can see we got to start chopping salary, and we got to do it quick. We can't play all these guys. We're going to try to get down to some Sammy Watkins. Can we play both quarterbacks? Barely. I mean, we'd really have to start getting into, maybe you want to leave Clyde Edwards-Helaire, so then we'd have to get down to a Demarcus Robinson here at 2,200. You could do something like that, Mahomes and Watkins and Watson and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I don't hate that lineup, and it still leaves 700 on the table as well. Let's go over and make one on FanDuel, shall we? Very important that you click single game because it'll take us to the main slate here when we switch. There's also the cash game optimizer. So that'll use projected ownerships and all your salary so you can optimize cash game lineups. But let's come over here to single game. Let's select our single game, if we will. If I would quit messing up, that would be fantastic, right? I think that would help everything. Single game. Let that load up. And you pick the single game. I have one lineup right now where I have Mahomes and Watson and Edwards-Helaire and Demarcus Robinson at 6K. I actually really, really like that. Don't forget, click the link. Try it. 30 days for $1. Lots of options here. You can see you can go between FanDuel and DraftKings as well. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment in the comment section. Call my boys over at TRA. Thank you. 1-800-411-9633. $50 PayPal giveaway just for leaving a comment in the comment section. You can win $50. Like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to check out my boys over at Overlay DFS. I'm going to have a ton of fun. I'll be over there competing Overlay DFS. Hit them up on their Twitter sphere at Overlay DFS. Ask them about their first deposit bonus. That's the site I've been winning a ton of money on lately. It's a lot of fun. So be sure you check them out as well. Check out all of our cheat sheets and everything else over here at Draft Dashboard. Be sure to, I'll see you guys all tomorrow at 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 Eastern on Sportsbook Review. That link is down there. You can watch me live. We'll talk Thursday Night Football, all the final lines leading into Sunday's contest for all you NFL bettors out there. And I'll be live Sunday morning. I'll have our value savers for the main slate out tomorrow. Lots of NFL stuff. I'm very excited. Cheers to you all. Thank you all so much for watching. May the fantasy gods be with you all. Goodbye, folks.